Today we're taking a look at the Hindenburg, one of the best all-round cruisers in the game. I've been going through and collecting my anniversary super containers at tier 10, and of course, Hindenburg was on the list, and I had a really good time in it. So I wanted to show you that and talk a little bit about why I think the Hindenburg is so good. If you're someone who hasn't played this ship or taken the time to grind out the German cruiser line, I really think you should, or at least consider it, because this ship is so amazing in a lot of different areas, which is awesome, because this game is random, right? You're not going to always get the perfect scenario for that very niche ship, and that's where Hindenburg is so nice. It's a ship that you can farm battleships at range, even the AP. If you catch a broadside, 8,000 damage, and look at our reload. It's really, really solid as well. 12 guns, they hit pretty hard. And the HE, of course, is really, really good as well. This is 50 millimeters of pen, pretty decent fire chance, and combined with the really good reload and this spotter plane, we can farm from really long distances and get 4,000 damage HE salvos on top of the fires that are coming in. Hindenburg is a great damage farmer. I'm sure that's not news to many of you, because this ship has been well known as one of the better damage farmers in the game. I just think that it also excels at mid to close range as well, and that's why I'm taking reload mod. I'll show more of the build at the end, but I really love that Hindenburg can transition from a farming backline cruiser into a close range or mid-range brawler ship, a flanking ship. It can really do it all. It doesn't have the radar to impact cap zones and go after DDs like that, but fighting against other cruisers, fighting against battleships, as a support ship, it can do it really, really well. That's a Vermont dead in, what, 4 minutes? I guess 3.5, since it's still not even 16 minutes on the clock, so pretty fast kill on the Vermont there. We certainly contributed some to that. Our team had pretty good focus fire, though, too, let's be honest. Sometimes the weakness of the Hindenburg can be its HE damage, right? That is sometimes one of the weaker sides of German ships, but if you hit shells, 5.7k HE damage. It's really, really solid. Unfortunately, though, dispersion can be a bit of an issue on the Hindenburg. It's not as accurate as the Zao, although I suppose that's the Zao gimmick, that it has near destroyer levels of accuracy. But Hindenburg can have some pretty annoying salvos where it just shotguns, and that's annoying, but at least it's a fast reload, so you're going to be able to follow up relatively quickly. The other cool thing about a Hindenburg is you have 5 heals. With the full build of healing, you have 5. That's not really possible on most cruisers. It's only really a battleship thing that you can get up to 5 heals. So on top of the already really good armor, right, you got a lot of 30 millimeters. You even have a turtleback that can work sometimes, even against battleship shells. You have a lot of healing, so even if you do take some damage throughout the game, it's really easy to come back in the late game with a surprisingly healthy ship. And that's really, really nice. One of the benefits, of course, of higher tier cruisers and why I like them so much more than their mid and low tier counterparts is that healing and that ability to get into engagements, take damage, and still be able to get into some late game engagements without having lost all of my health earlier on, right? That's really, really nice on the Hindenburg. I don't think it's worth taking the legendary mod on, though. If you don't know that one, you sacrifice some concealment and you essentially have 4-second, 7-second fires on your ship, something like that. It's a really insane damage control upgrade, but I'd prefer the concealment personally because I want to get in a little bit closer. I'm trying to run a full conceal build here to combine with reload mod. I've talked about that a lot, where I think the comfort level of a ship is often related to its concealment and its gun range. So Hindenburg not having the best gun range, it's 17.7, 17.8, something like that, is not the best. It's much more than Zao and a lot of other cruisers, but it's no Nevsky, for example, up in the 19-kilometer range, right? So it can be a little difficult if you sacrifice some of the concealment upgrades on Hindenburg. It's only 12.6 kilometer concealment, I think. Just off the top of my head here. That's not amazing either. So it can be a little challenging to run reload mod if you're constantly getting spotted by DDs, pushed back, and then people aren't in range. So that's why I really enjoy this spotter plane and the captain skill for it. You'll notice that we're gonna have another spotter plane in 1 minute and 50 seconds. I really do value this skill on the Hindenburg, specifically with reload mod, since I'm usually getting into engagements where I want to get a little extra chip damage for a minute or two, really just about a minute as someone's fleeing away from me. I can pop the spotter plane and know it'll be back up quickly. And of course, if I'm pushing into somewhere and I want that little bit of extra range as well, I don't need it for long durations of time. There we can see the awful dispersion. It happens sometimes, but look, the next salvo is going to be reasonably accurate. And I think we do what, 6K, 8K maybe? It's really solid APs. You're not going to get the consistency of a Zhao, but that's okay. Really, I love the flexibility the Hindenburg has over something like the Zhao, for example. It feels a little easier to push into situations that are a little more close range. You even have torpedoes, although they're a little bit hard to make use of, since at closer ranges like this, 6 kilometers, if you go to use them, you're showing enough broadside that you're liable to take a lot of citadel damage if your turtleback doesn't work, so I tend not to go for them all the time. But in these close range engagements, you can definitely make use of that HE into some destroyers. It hurts. It's really solid. Here I was trying to do some speed juking, but I did actually end up eating some Holland torps here. I didn't have my hydro up. That's one of the main strengths of the Hindenburg too, is the hydro. Having 6 kilometers of range, it's really solid. I like this ship a lot. I don't play it a ton because it kind of is the all-rounder, right? I'm playing a ton of ships in this game, and I tend to look for ones that are interesting in a very specific way, right? Very extreme ships where we get, you know, like Des Moines reload, for example, 203s that reload that fast, very extreme. Even, you know, brawling secondary battleships, right? I'm not playing a Montana all the time, right? I'm choosing to try a Schlieffen, for example, or the insane sniper Slava, right? But the all-rounders are really good, and if you're just looking to have a good ship in most situations, Hindenburg's gonna be it, man. You're not gonna see it a lot in clan battles for the same reason. You want to specialize a lot in competitive, but for randoms, as just a catch-all, gonna have a good time, Hindenburg's on my short list if I'm gonna do that. And just like that, we had a 140k decent game, and that just seems to happen a lot in this ship. So to talk a little bit about the build here, it really is just a great all-rounder. So we want to buff our survivability, we want to buff our concealment, right? All these things. And then I take Adrenaline Rush. I am also taking Top Grade Gunner for better DPM in those closer range engagements, because Hindenburg can play at closer ranges. It's really pretty good at it. Of course, you do have to worry about 457s and 30 millimeters of overmatch at tier 10, but even then, they're not going to Citadel you, so there's opportunities to even push into those scenarios, assuming you have enough HP to take a couple 20k hits and get those torpedoes off. I love Eye in the Sky. It's very situational, and if you're not really used to it, it can be a bit of a hindrance, but I really do find myself getting a lot of value out of it. You could run Demolition Expert or even take Priority Target or Incoming Fire Alert instead. These are great skills for when you're trying to farm a battleship and you don't want to worry about getting cross-mapped by another battleship. Gives you a little heads up, and that can always save your life in a cruiser. I like Grease the Gears and, of course, Gunfeeder. New Gunfeeder is amazing. I love that skill. I'm trying to take it on basically everything now. Maybe not destroyers because they have such good reloads already, but man, it's awesome. I love Reload Hindenburg, but I have played range mod, and it can definitely work. If you find yourself not able to really take engagements, because let's be honest, World of Warships in 2022, too soon to be 2023, gets a little passive, So don't feel bad about taking range mod. It's still a great ship, but for me, I want those close engagements where Reload really shines. Aiming Systems mod 1, and then yeah, I'm actually taking Spotter Aircraft mod 1. Really trying to maximize it, right? So I get 60 seconds of uptime, 65 seconds, and then I'm waiting less than 2 minutes, and it's back up again. I find myself really enjoying that, but it's really niche, and there's a lot of investment into it, which is maybe not always the most worth it. But Hindenburg is definitely worth it, and if you don't have it, I really think you should try and get it, at least at some point. And if you do have it, let me know what you think in the comments down below. You can definitely find some others' opinions down there. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.